Voreqe Prime Minister, Voreqe and members of the media. On behalf of every Fijian, I'd like to welcome New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern to our shores for our first official visit to Fiji. A few years back, we entered a new era of the Fiji-New Zealand friendship, an era defined by mutual respect and equality. Today, our partnership sits at unparalleled strength as Prime Minister Ardern's personal commitment to the Pacific has built new bridges of cooperation upon the foundation of trust and openness our governments know today. Through an inclusive and compassionate brand of leadership, Prime Minister Ardern has earned a profile that extends far beyond New Zealand, winning the hearts and minds of people in Fiji and all around the world. I'm glad to see it because I believe our world badly needs more leaders like Jacinda. I consider myself to be a good judge of character. And the Prime Minister and I have had the privilege of meeting several times now. And through those meetings, I can tell you one thing, that this is a leader who truly cares, who not only leads well, but listens, and who shares the principles of togetherness and progress that I hold most dear. But what I've admired most is how, when tested by great adversity, she has summoned the spirit of unity in a way that not only lifts up the people of New Zealand, but inspires the wider world. She and I both see the power in a simple idea, the idea that no matter their background or creed, our people's fates are bound by nationhood. For much of Fiji's 50-year history as an independent nation, that was a revolutionary concept. But after shutting the doors on decades of hurt and division, today, every citizen of this country can call themselves a proud Fijian, united in the purpose of building a better nation. Prime Minister Ardern and I also see the potential of unity across the Pacific. This afternoon, we held a wide-ranging discussion on how our surging partnership can deliver greater good in the lives of Fijians and New Zealanders alike. New Zealand is Fiji's second largest regional trading partner. Every year, tens of thousands of Kiwis visit our shores, and Fijian and New Zealand businesses send flows of goods, services, and investments across our borders that sustain and create jobs within our economies. With mounting uncertainty in the global economy, Prime Minister Ardern and I spoke at great length of new avenues of regional economic opportunity, whether it's building climate resilience and climate-focused financial products, providing good housing, expanding access to home ownership, adding greater convenience and livability to our urban centers, sustainably managing our farms and fisheries, building capacity in education and training, or opening new flows of trade, technology and expertise. We can look within our region and to each other to ride out the global economic headwinds we face, both now and on the horizon. Fiji and New Zealand are both in the midst of ambitious agendas to revolutionize our citizens' well-being. In Fiji, we have vastly expanded our social safety net to cater for those most vulnerable in Fijian society. We have extended maternity leave to 98 working days, established paternity leave and established family care leave for the first time. And we are keen to fine-tune our systems by learning from New Zealand's goal to set the wellness of their people as the benchmark for good policy, from mainstreaming mental health to furthering women's empowerment. What makes this partnership truly special is that Prime Minister Ardern and I know the possibilities for our partnership extend far beyond our patch of ocean. From Tuvalu to the halls of the UN General Assembly, our elevated voice on the world stage has transformed the Pacific from a region left of maps to one which loudly and boldly defends humanity's greatest interest. Both of our nations recently joined Iceland, Norway, and Costa Rica in a new agreement on climate change, trade and sustainability, which we expect will generate global momentum to spur sustainable, climate-conscious flows of trade. It's one of many ways that Fiji and New Zealand are leading the global race to net zero. I want to congratulate New Zealand on passing its climate change response zero carbon bill. Fiji is proud to join in on the right side of history by passing our own climate change bill this year, which lays out our pathway to net zero emissions. The window is quickly closing for the rest of the international community, including our neighbors, to match our world-leading efforts. The work of the next 9 months in the lead up to COP26 in Glasgow is going to be pivotal to the next 30 years of climate action and to securing a habitable future for the Pacific and the planet alike. I know I can count on Prime Minister Ardern to not only do the right thing, but to join Fiji in demanding the right thing from the rest of the world, specifically ambitious commitments which limit temperature rise to the vital 1.5 degree target. 2020 is also a landmark year for our oceans and the life they sustain. Course close to the hearts of all Fijians and Kiwis, particularly so to New Zealand's first man, Mr. Gayford, who joins us this week. Whether our fishermen are using a hand line in Lau or manning an inshore vessel in the Cook Strait, they depend on the bounty of healthy ocean ecosystems. Our nations, in partnership with nations across the Pacific, will lend our voices to the defense of ocean health as we look to Lisbon and the second UN Ocean Conference this June. I also express Fiji's gratitude to Prime Minister Ardern for New Zealand's support of Fiji's peacekeeping deployment in the Golan Heights, as well as their pre-deployment training at Black Rock and their ongoing support of RFMF officers training at the Peacekeeping Institute. Today, Fiji proudly welcomes home 54 RFMF engineers who have spent 5 weeks in Australia, assisting with the rebuild from the catastrophic bushfire crisis. That contingent was airlifted into Australia on New Zealand Defence Force Boeing 757. Members of the media, the sense of unbreakable fellowship embodied by the RFMF and New Zealand Defence Force, lending a shoulder when our neighbours needed it most, reveals the true strength of the Pacific spirit. In that spirit, I'd like to again extend a warm bula to the Prime Minister from all Fijians. May you and Clark find the same happiness that thousands of Kiwi mums and dads and children have found in Fiji over the years. I look forward to hosting you all at our official welcome dinner this evening, and I hope you brought your bulashat. Thank you. God bless you.
Misa Bula Vinaka. Can I begin by thanking you, Prime Minister, for the warmth of the welcome that Clark and I have experienced from the moment that we set foot here in Fiji. This visit for us has been a long time coming and one that we're very, very grateful to be able to undertake. And from the welcome ceremony to the honour guard, to the visit with the President and the wreath laying, every element of the program we've felt very welcome and has been an illustration of the strength of our relationship and the long-standing nature of our relationship. But if I may start by reflecting on the long-standing nature and acknowledge 50 years of independence for Fiji, which coincides with 50 years of diplomatic relations with New Zealand, and that's a relationship that's very important to us. Thank you, though, for pointing out that New Zealand was one of the first to express a desire to have diplomatic relations 50 years ago, and we often strive to be a country of firsts, and that comes to our relationship as well. We touched briefly, and you'll see in our statement, that I have extended, indeed applied pressure to the Prime Minister to visit New Zealand sometime in the future, we would welcome the opportunity to host you. Not least to return our gratitude for the manaakitanga, the hospitality that you show roughly 200,000 New Zealanders who come to visit Fiji and enjoy what you have to offer as a tourism destination. But also because many thousand Fijians call New Zealand home. And so I know they would welcome the opportunity to see you visit as well. My only proviso is that you don't come when we're playing rugby against Australia, because I know you won't support the right team. We, in our conversation, you, Prime Minister, acknowledged what New Zealand went through roughly a year ago as we approached the anniversary of March 15. And I want to thank Fiji for the warm hand of friendship that you reached out and extended to us in our darkest of hours, particularly when you yourselves lost your own in that attack. And I want to again express to you my sadness and sorrow that that happened on our soil, but our thanks for the friendship that you extended in our greatest time of need. Your president represented you at our memorial. You were amongst the first to reach out to us, and on behalf of New Zealand, I want to thank you for that, and also acknowledge your strong Muslim community here in Fiji, who I do look forward to visiting and extending that thanks and gratitude personally. We discussed many topics, as the Prime Minister has said, areas of interest where New Zealand and Fiji very much hold the same ambition. Climate change is indeed one of them. I want to acknowledge the leadership role that Fiji has played within the Pacific, not just within the Pacific, but on the world stage as champions for a sustainable Pacific future in the face of the full frontal assault that is climate change. Having that voice on the world stage speak clearly around the impact of climate change, the fact that we do not have time to waste, has been incredibly powerful, and it has come under your leadership, and I acknowledge that. Please consider us partners as we work together, not just in our region, but globally. And the agreement that we've started work on together, Prime Minister, in September we launched around a free trade instrument to encourage the trade of goods and services that enable us to transition to a clean, green future, is just one element and one practical way that we can continue to work together. I discussed and raised with the Prime Minister my appreciation of the fact that within the Pacific you have the greatest representation of women in Parliament, and that I'm very keen to continue to do what we can to replicate that around the Pacific. And the strength of the women in leadership here, I know I'm going to see in full force during my visit. And I appreciated the fact that 8 out of your 10 MPs visited me in New Zealand and really enjoyed that time with them. At the wreath-laying ceremony, as I talked to some of the individuals there, what stood out to me was not only the length of service, but the length of service within peacekeeping missions under the auspices of the United Nations. Your contribution as a nation to the UN peacekeeping forces in some of the most difficult conflicts in the world has been significant, and we welcome the ongoing opportunity to continue to support you in those roles that you've been playing, which is unrivaled, unparalleled in the Pacific. Prime Minister, we discussed public health, we discussed the NCDs, we discussed coronavirus, and increasingly how this is an example of where the communication and relationships between us as we try and prevent that spread in the Pacific has been so important. We discussed PACER Plus, our view that it presents an opportunity to strengthen economic prosperity in the region, and we even discussed the weighty issue of double taxation. We discussed Pacific regionalism and the importance of strengthening our institutions, particularly in an increasingly globalised world. And Prime Minister, we particularly discussed the work we can do together on transnational organised crime. We both, as nations, are facing the scourge of those who seek to profit on the misery of others through drugs like methamphetamine. None of us are alone in that battle. In fact, I spoke briefly with you of the fact that we have, at our borders, seized record amounts of narcotics and the attempts to bring that into New Zealand. And there is a connection between those flows around the Pacific. I'm keen, and I believe as are you, for us to continue to work together to elevate this issue at the Pacific Island Forum, but to also together strengthen the work that we do on transnational crime, but particularly with our police forces together. It was actually in November of last year, but this will be the first time I believe we've spoken about it, that an $11 million package was approved for a partnership between the New Zealand Police Force and the Fiji Police Force. And today I'd like to take the opportunity just to share a few details of that agreement. The first is an investment of $1 million into enhancing forensic laboratories here, of course, a critical part when drug seizures occur of ensuring successful prosecution through the use of laboratory and forensic laboratories. And that's an area where we're very keen to support the work that you're doing on drug law enforcement here. That work will commence in May of this year. The second is the area of capacity building, which is an area I know that you've been working with UNDP as well. The third area is enhancing asset recovery and policing capability, particularly again around seizures. Some specifics of that include, and this is a $4 million investment, embedding four full-time New Zealand Police technical advisors and mentors within the Fijian Police Force for 2 years, a police leadership development program, and technical assistance to the Proceeds of Crime unit, and the provision of trained tracker dogs, which have been so successful for us in our work in this space as well. And on the proceeds of crime, we discussed briefly that in New Zealand, that has been a successful way that we've been able to generate revenue to then invest back into the harm created by drug use. And Prime Minister, I acknowledge your interest in the area of mental health and the connection to this issue, and reinforce again that I'm very keen for us to work together in that emerging issue that we are both keen to tackle. I think you can see by those range of areas and the diversity of the discussion, there's much on which we agree and are keen to work together. But it would be very remiss of me not to finish by again just saying thank you for the chance to visit with you for what is my second visit, but my first official visit, and to say I feel very welcome here in the home of Olympic champions. Vinaka and Ngā mihi nui kia koutou.